Welcome to Corvette Today, the podcast that talks about everything Corvette, with your host Steve Garrett, MC and DJ at one of the largest Corvette weekends in the country, Corvette Fun Fest, president of the Corvette Club of Kansas City, Missouri, and radio disc jockey at the #1 radio station in Kansas City for over 40 years. Here's Steve Garrett.
Thanks for listening and watching Corvette Today, the show that talks about everything Corvette, and the only current podcast dedicated to Corvette. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. I appreciate you tuning in. Corvette Today is brought to you by Wheelcraft. Want to dress up your Corvette with bright chrome or black chrome wheels? Visit wheelcraft.com and learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or offer a wheel exchange for most models, and it comes with a 5-year warranty. Visit wheelcraft.com today or call 833-840-5334. You can listen to Corvette Today on all podcast platforms. You can also listen on your smart device. Just say, "Hey Google" or "Alexa, play the podcast called Corvette Today," and you're connected. Be sure and visit the updated Corvette Today website. It's CorvetteToday.com. You can also access everything there, including the Corvette Today merchandise store. You can also join the Corvette Today Facebook group there and sign up for Corvette Today emails, notifications, and updates at corvettetoday.ck.page. And if you like YouTube, you can subscribe to the Corvette Today YouTube channel. See all Corvette Today episodes on YouTube. And be sure and patronize our flagship sponsors of Corvette Today, Aerolarri Wheels, a true forged wheel with over 20 different unique styles to choose from for your C8 and wide-body versions of the C7, C6, and C5 Corvettes. It's an amazing value, starting at only $23.88 for a set of 4 fully forged wheels. And use the promo code CT111 and get $100 off your purchase. Visit aerolarri.com, that's AEROLARRI.com, and use the promo code CT111 for your $100 discount. Also, midenginecorvetteforum.com, the forum that focuses on the new mid-engine C8 Corvette. Meet a lot of Corvette enthusiasts like yourself at midenginecorvetteforum.com. And a shout out to Corvette Forum and Canadian CorvetteForum.com, welcoming Corvette enthusiasts from around the world. Happy New Year, everybody. It's time to bring you the latest Corvette news and headlines with my pal Keith Cornett from CorvetteBlogger.com. Keith is here twice per month, every other week, to keep you current and up to date on what's happening with America's sports car. Happy New Year, buddy. Good to have you back. How was your holiday?
Steve, it was great. We went out to El Paso, as we mentioned last time, and spent it with family out there. Had a very nice New Year's, a little bit laid back, but that happens, I think, when you get a little bit older. Very much fun. Just raring to start the new year here.
That sounds great. Well, buddy, as we usually do at the beginning of each new year, we cover the biggest stories of the previous year, and Keith and I have put together a list of all the things that you looked at and read most in 2022. First, in Corvette news, GM North America President Steve Carlisle had warned dealers about Z06 market adjustments, and that was a big deal, Keith.
Yeah, this was really the first time that they were really taking what we thought was a stab at what was going to be the high market adjustments charged by dealers. We were hearing $25,000, $50,000, $100,000. There was definitely concerns there. And so obviously when Steve Carlisle, GM North America president, comes out and says to dealers, hey, there's certain things that you shouldn't be doing, we thought, great.
Right.
Unfortunately, it didn't really have the effect that we were hoping for. The letter was sort of a two-tier prong attack. It basically warned dealers about shady practices like charging more than what GM allows for down payments, maybe taking several down payments for a car. And these aren't just for Corvettes as well. These are like the Hummers. These are the Silverado EVs. Any of these high-end new GM cars that were coming out that people had a lot of interest in, they are really looking at that. So the second prong of that letter dealt with exporting. Exporting a new car is a big no-no for GM. If I was to go down, buy a car, and then export it, they get a list of every VIN that goes overseas. And right away, you're on a blacklist. You'll never be able to buy another new car again from a dealership. That's how stringent they are about that. There's a lot of these flips. And unfortunately, some people don't know they're being flipped. I've just come to you. I'm going to buy your car. Great.
Right.
And then I end up being a broker and I send it overseas. Well, guess what? You're still on the hook for that. So there was a lot of back and forth on this letter. It did nearly 250,000 pages viewed. It's just an amazing thing that we constantly referred back to. But 6 months later, it was clear with the way that dealers were acting towards the Z06. The letter did not have the intended effect that we were hoping for.
Yeah, that's very true. I was really sad to see the dealerships kind of reading that in a different way and taking it differently than what Steve had originally meant it for. Also, another big story, Keith, the FBI raided a Chinese-owned supplier that makes aluminum wheels for GM vehicles. That was kind of an interesting story, too.
I kind of like true crime stories, and especially when they cross over into our Corvette world. That's why a lot of times you'll see some of the police chases and things like that, because people are always interested in that. They always tend to do well, these real-life crime stories, I guess you could say. Was there a crime committed at Dicastal up in Michigan? We don't know that. The FBI basically shut them down for the day. They were seen taking out boxes and laptops and the big box computers. This is a company that serves as the U.S. headquarters, I believe, for Dicastal. Dicastal is a Chinese-owned company, and they make aluminum wheels for everybody. Ford, GM, Honda, Toyota, Nissan, you name it, they're making wheels for it.
Wow.
The FBI only confirmed that they executed a search warrant, but there was no other real news from that. And then we thought this was funny is GM did put out a notice saying, well, yeah, they did get raided, but our wheels are made in China, so don't worry about it. That's not really the message that we were hoping for. Are wheels made better because they're in China or in the U.S.? I think a lot of us would like to think that the answer is the U.S. But it was just an interesting story. It had a lot of questions that didn't really have any answers, which is unfortunately a lot like we're hearing about the FBI these days. But it was a huge story, and it really was one of those stories that went viral for us across different platforms, not just within the automotive or just Corvette websites.
Gotcha. Another story that I thought was really, really big was the E-Ray was leaked on the GM visualizer for just a little bit of time, and you were right in the middle of it, weren't you?
We live for this stuff, Steve, and thankfully we have enough contacts out there and people look at us. So probably within the first 30 minutes of the E-Ray being out there publicly, we were on the site downloading, taking as many screenshots as we could. I lament the fact I wasn't able to take more screenshots. And it's funny because we learned that the longer that leak was up, a few more things tickled out. Like some people got pictures that other people didn't get. I know on Conti's screenshot, one of the things that he showed was he was able to capture brake calipers. And we had other people say, I didn't get a screenshot of it, but I saw a Z07 arrow on the visualizer for the E-Ray.
Right.
Again, it's just one of these stories that happen. I don't know how this stuff can go live without pushing the right button, so to speak. But I've been around in IT long enough that this stuff does happen. This came out just in December. We ended up talking to Chevy PR on it. They recognized that we kind of live for this stuff. By then, the cat was out of the bag. There's no way they could say to us, if you take that down, we'd appreciate it. It was already out there. It was on Facebook.
Right.
A couple of videos that already popped up on YouTube with it. I mean, it was that fast. It just kind of swept over to Corvette Nation like a huge tidal wave. And from it, we just got so much information. Not only did we get E-Ray confirmations, wide body, LT2, but we've got all new colors for 2024, the cacti green and the new blue color. So it ended up being a very big leak for us, something that's a little bit closer to my heart. I've been on an E-Ray list for 2.5 years now. So to finally see specific information about that car, it was a lot of fun to do. And they had several leaks this year that we'll also talk about.
Yeah.
Not just E-Ray. So when you have this huge behemoth of a company like General Motors is, and they always are hiring different people and third parties and vendors, not everything is as locked down as they'd like it to be, and we're okay with that.
Hey, their leak is our gain. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the gain for enthusiasts, too. They like to be surprised. A lot of times when we see the rollout of official information, it's not exciting, but when the information comes to us, like the visualizer putting out extra colors at an auto show, why are there 14 colors when Corvette only has 12? Well, that's 70th anniversary. So there's a lot of fun that comes along with it. And again, it's just things that we live for.
That's true. Also, another big story, Rick Hendrick bought the first retail Z06 for $3.6 million.
The surprise wasn't Rick Hendrick buying the first car. It was how much he'd be spending for it.
Exactly.
Definitely $3.6 million, I think, is the right number for the very first Z06. And then he came back several months later and paid $1 million for the first convertible. His collection's just amazing. We saw that when the cars were produced and delivered, he ended up getting a first delivery batch of around 6 cars. I think 5 of them were black, and then one of them was the white pearl cars. He does like his black cars, and he definitely has some new ones there at his dealership. He's shown them at City Chevrolet, and then I guess some of them are also now in his collection outside of Charlotte.
Right. Also, the Z06 ordering information leaked on the GM Workbench ordering system. That was kind of interesting, too.
Again, this came from our friends over at Corvette Action Center who are affiliated with McMulkin, and they were able to get in there and look at the workbench info. Before the order guide came out, before we had pricing, we had this document that basically showed all the screenshots of what was available at the moment for the Z06. So it really gave us our first opportunity to look at specific equipment that was going to be on the car. And then not only did it have the Z06 information, but it also had 2023 Stingray info as well. So we could kind of go back and forth and see certain things that were on both cars. Maybe they use the same RPO for something. These leaks just allow us to educate ourselves as well as everybody else. Z06 buyers were heavily invested in the Z06 for years before the reveal, before we saw the prototypes. There's people been on Z06 lists since they bought their C7 Z06.
Yes.
So when you get these inklings of information, of course, people are going to jump all over it. And again, it was a very informational leak because it had all the RPOs, all the LPO codes associated with the car at that moment. Hats off Corvette Action Center for sharing that, because it really just gave us our first well-rounded look at what the Z06 would be made of.
Exactly right. And our final big story in the news section, Keith, Chevrolet announced the 70th anniversary special edition C8 for 2023, and I got one.
You did get one, and you got a good one too, as I see the pictures. I hear it's changing daily. We'll have to talk about the number of mods you have on that car already. I've been told it's over 50. I don't know if that's true or not.
It is true.
We need an intervention, people.
We do.
The 70th anniversary, there was 2 leaks involved with this car before they officially announced it. And the announcement was specifically because it was leaked. LA Auto Show, as we mentioned, they have this display. There was these mock-ups with 12 exterior colors of the Corvette, except they put out 14 of them that included a carbon flash metallic and a white pearl metallic. Right away, people were speculating 70th anniversary right there. Of course, they took them away real quick, which kind of really confirmed stuff. But then the night before Sebring, it leaked on the visualizer again. Unfortunately, I did miss that one because it happened so late, and I was going to Sebring the next morning. But the visualizer leaked. People had screenshots. We knew the 2 colors. The morning, I'm out in the Corvette tent with Harlan Charles, and I say, the visualizer leaked last night with the 70th anniversary, and he just kind of threw his hands up because, again, as we talked about, there are so many moving parts with this. They already had the one leak with the LA Auto Show and then a follow-up with the visualizer. So then it was that Monday that Chevrolet came out with their official statement and showing the new cars. It was just another exciting moment. But again, the 70th anniversary, people love anniversary cars. It's sort of like a snapshot in time as it goes by. But at the moment, when you're riding around in the 70th anniversary, it's pretty special. And of course, these cars are special. The 2 colors, you got the 70th anniversary badges, you got some interior leather options for the seats, stuff you can't get anywhere else. The sales are going well on these cars. I think they've already surpassed 2,000 of the Stingrays. I think we've got like 40 or so Z06s that have been built. So these are going to be fun cars in the future. It all started there with the leak that came out January 24th.
Yep, very true, buddy. Mine is number 1245, and I just looked at my list. 54 mods and counting so far.
Wow, 54. I don't know where you would get 54 mods.
Most of them are carbon fiber, so that's another story for another podcast, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think we need to do a section on interventions.
A carbon fiber intervention.
Right. Back in the day, there was a club that we were a part of. It's called Corvettes Anonymous.
Yeah.
I think that would have been perfect for you.
I think you're right. Well, buddy, let's take our first break, and when we come back, we'll talk about the biggest stories in Corvette racing and Corvette rumors here on the first edition of Corvette Today of 2023.
We all know that wheels make the car. Wheelcraft will help you take your Corvette to new levels. Wheelcraft offers the world's best PVD chrome finish available on the market. Available in bright chrome and black chrome. Wheelcraft nails it in both appearance and durability, and it comes with a 5-year warranty against brake dust burns, pitting, peeling, and color delamination. Wheelcraft is also ISO certified. Whether you're having your wheels refinished or an exchange transaction, there is no core fee, no deposit, and you don't pay for the finished wheels until they are installed on your car. Wheelcraft insists on complete satisfaction before you pay. Hear from one of our customers.
I picked up a brochure at the National Corvette Museum when we took delivery of our new C8. I called Wheelcraft, and in 15 minutes, I ordered the new bright ice chrome wheels. Wheelcraft's follow-up and follow-through is superb. The wheels arrived on Sunday, installed on Monday, and cores were returned same day. The wheels are the highest quality I've ever seen, and they look awesome. Great prices, great customer service from initial contact to installation.
Thanks, Dennis from Nashville. In many cases, Wheelcraft offers finished wheels on exchange or will apply this new finish to your wheels. Either way, Wheelcraft treats your wheels as their own. Visit our website at wheelcraft.com or call us at 833-840-5334. Arrive in style with Wheelcraft.
The Radiator Grill Store offers protection for your C8's front radiators and side intakes. They also carry front strut tower covers to prevent rusting and pooling water, all with do-it-yourself installation. Get 10% off your total purchase with promo code CT10. See the full line of products at radiatorgrillstore.com.
When you want to buy a Corvette, or any Chevrolet for that matter, get yours from Hendrick Chevrolet Shawnee Mission, located in Kansas City. Hendrick Chevrolet is the largest Corvette dealership and showroom in the Midwest. With a knowledgeable sales staff and Corvette sales specialists on hand, they'll help you build the Corvette of your dreams, and they ship nationwide. With Corvette certified master mechanics on site and a huge parts department with over 24,000 parts and $2 million in inventory, Hendrick Chevrolet is well equipped to take care of your every need. From sales to service to collision repair, Hendrick Chevrolet has you covered. Visit ChevyUSA.com or call 913-384-1550.
VetFinders.com is the Internet's original Corvette classified ads website, with classified ads starting at just $25. And every ad runs until your Corvette is sold. If you're in the market for a Corvette, VetFinders.com has over 500 Corvettes for sale from all around the USA and Canada, and covering all 8 generations. Visit VetFinders.com, the Internet's destination for buying and selling Corvettes. That's VETTE Finders.com.
Check out the first Corvette-only auction website at 427stingray.com/Corvette Today. You can sign up to bid and comment on more than 40 Corvettes every week. That's 427stingray.com/Corvette Today. Join the community.
And now, back to the only current podcast on Corvettes, Corvette Today, with your host, Steve Garrett.
Hey, thanks for listening and watching Corvette Today, the show that talks about everything Corvette and the only current podcast dedicated to Corvette. Brought to you by Wheelcraft. Want to dress up your Corvette with bright chrome or black chrome wheels? Visit Wheelcraft.com and learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or offer a wheel exchange for most models, and it comes with a 5-year warranty. Visit Wheelcraft.com today or call them at 833-840-5334. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. With me every other week is Keith Cornett from CorvetteBlogger.com. This show is dedicated to the best stories of 2022. In this second segment, Corvette Racing and Corvette Rumors is what we cover. First of all, Keith, Chevrolet shared the first look at the C8 GT3R. That's an awesome looking car.
Yeah, people are really excited about this, and they should be. You know, we've been talking about GT racing for a long time. GT3 specifically is the moniker that everybody's operating under now. It's a set standard of cars. When you have so much similar equipment, it makes that a whole lot easier. Last year, we were debating about whether or not we're going to see Corvette Racing as a GT3 car, or would it be going the hypercar route? Cadillac Racing obviously did that. I think that's probably the right decision. Corvette is steeped in GT racing history. For those people that take it to the next level in racing, it's nice to see that there's going to be this factory program that's launched. There's all kinds of moving parts that goes with this. Obviously, they didn't anticipate the C8R having to do a major change so quickly in its life cycle. There was a little bit of a hesitation there. Obviously, it's going to take 2 years to get the program onto the ground. We just had last year's the whole development, and then we finally saw the unveiling of the car. Late in the year, we actually saw it on the track up at Sebring. We don't really have a lot of details about the car. We think that they're going to make about 10 of them. Chevy's got this whole customer program that they've got to come up with that shares parts and know-how, and how do they do that? And is it going to be just on one continent? Is it going to be supported here in the U.S. and in Europe, or also in Asia? These are still some of the questions that we don't know about, but they've got the car on the road, and I think that's probably the biggest thing that we've been waiting for so far, is to see it. The Corvette Racing drivers, you know, they've all driven it. They've said it's really come a long way to where they thought it would be. Now it's really just a case of getting it dialed in. We know that Tommy Milner has been assigned as sort of the lead test driver for the GT3 program moving forward this year. So he'll be doing that in addition to the endurance racing for the IMSA team here in the United States. It's a neat program. It's fun to watch. We can't wait to learn more about it.
Me too. I can't wait to learn more about it. I want to see those cars on the track. Also, another big story in Corvette Racing is Corvette Racing won the 12 Hours of Sebring in 2022.
It'd been a few years since we had one at Sebring. Not so much questions, but the balance of performance. Obviously, we're racing with a waiver with our GTLM spec car that's been kind of dumbed down to GT3 standards. Early on in the season, they do a balance of performance specifically for the Rolex 24, and then they do another one starting at Sebring. It sets the baseline for the rest of the year, although they do make tweaks. So we ended up at Sebring just with a really fast car. That's really what helped us. It was the first time I think we'd won in 3 or 4 years at Sebring. Our cars and the GTD amateur cars, they're fairly similar. Sebring's a hard track to pass unless you get into certain areas. So with a little bit of a faster car, thankfully, we were able to take that win. That was probably the highlight win of the season for the IMSA team, would be the 12 hours of Sebring.
That was really cool. I was glad to see that. Also, the Corvette Racing team went to Spring Mountain and tested the C8 in May of 2022.
So they raced at Long Beach, the Long Beach Grand Prix, and then Chevy had cars there for them. And then they drove their cars through the desert out to Pahrump, Nevada, where they did some track testing with the Stingrays at Spring Mountain and the Ron Fellows Performance Driving School. There's a cool video about this. It's just nice to see them driving our cars for a change. We think about what it'd be like to drive their car, but here they're driving our cars. We get their perspectives of what it's like to drive them both on the street and on the track. They have great things to say for the standard car, the base car. What a huge package of performance you do get for that. These guys show us how it's done.
That was really cool. Also, in the rumor section, we are looking at possibly some interior design changes coming up for the C8. Is that still on the table?
When they talk about interior design changes, they're talking about the Great Wall of Buttons. Those that don't drive the car still have some questions about how could you ever know what button to push, right?
Right.
Whereas those that have been driving the cars, it's very intuitive. Here's your driver's side here, here's your passengers, and then here's the standard stuff. It's all got tactile feel. You know, if you put your thumb on it, one button will feel different than the next button. And it's just a process of learning. This is a rumor about interior changes that have gone back. I think it was either Car and Driver or Motor Trend started that, saying it was going to happen in 2023. And now it's 2024. And of course, we still hear these rumors to this day. I don't put much stock in it. I think that would be very expensive to redesign the whole interior of the Corvettes. And obviously they're shared. So it's not just the Stingray, it's the Z06. It will be the E-Ray that'll have it. It is what it is at this point. I think it's sort of baked into the equation that you're going to get the Great Wall of Buttons when you buy a Corvette. It's something to embrace, I think.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the problem I had when I took delivery of my 70th anniversary car. I drove home in the dead of night in the pouring rain, and then the windows started fogging up, and it's like, okay, which button do I push to defrost the windows?
If that's overwhelming, there is a touchscreen right there that has all those same controls that you can handle.
Right.
For people that would prefer the touchscreen, it's right there for you. But if you're driving, your eyes are on the road, you just reach up. Eventually, you'll learn which button is which.
Absolutely right. Also, another rumor was a closer look at the new colors coming out for 2024, and maybe the E-Ray as well, like the Cacti color, right?
Yeah, we had an earlier story about Chevrolet wanting to do an NFT, which is like these digital artworks that people buy. They had the one car that was going to be painted in minted green. It was a Z06, and then on top of it, you get the NFT, the digital graphic, but then you also get the real car. Well, obviously, that was a promotion that kind of fell flat because of the crash of the NFT markets and some other things that have gone on. So there's this green car out there that people were thinking, wow, hopefully that'll be it. It's loud. It seems like it's an exotic car color. So when we got the visualizer leak, sure enough, there's a green on there, but it wasn't the green we were expecting. It's called Cacti green. It's a shade that's darker and a little bit flatter than this bright minted green that we saw in the Z06. A lot of people want to take a look at it. And the interesting thing is it's a color that's shared on the 2024 Chevrolet Trax SUV. So we do have some real world renderings of the car and what it looks like, that color. So, you know, for the people that kind of like the army green with the black wheels, it's a good look. There's an interior color that appears to go along with that. When we always see an exterior and an interior color paired up, we always wonder, is there a special edition? I mean, that's what happened when we saw the Strike Yellow and Sky Cool Gray come out with the new Hypersonic Gray. We're thinking right away, that's like a Corvette racing car.
Yeah.
Maybe something's going on with this, but when you put out new information, the visualizer leaks, you get the Cacti, you get the new blue. People want to check it out. They want to dream and see if that's something that they might be interested in. And right away, I know that some people will love this color, and that'll be the car that they have to have. If we can show that off and give some examples of it, it's fun to do. The interesting thing is, if you look at this color, we went back and kind of looked at some greens in our post. There's a Cascade green from 58 or 59. It's kind of similar. You think of those pastels from the 50s and 60s that did so well on cars, and some people always wish that they'd come back. Well, this might be one of these opportunities because it does fairly look like Cascade green.
Yeah, it does. And it reminded me of a military color. So it should be interesting to see that color on a Corvette.
It will be. And the nice thing, too, is these colors are replacing colors. We've had a couple browns over the last few years, the Zeus and the Caffeine. Neither really lit the world on fire. And truthfully, Cacti is not going to light the world on fire. We don't anticipate it to be within the top half of the color spectrum for Corvettes.
Right.
We like the fact that Chevy's mixing things up and bringing in some new colors. Of course, we'd love to see the return of some purples and some other colors that did really well back in the day. There's so many colors you could talk about out there. Medium purple metallic from the C5s. I can come up with 100 of them.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their favorite color, and unfortunately, they can only put 12 or 13 or 14 on the car in 1 year. So Cacti is coming in 2024, and that was one of our first real looks at it.
Yep, that was true. I'd love to see a black rose metallic C8. That would be cool. Well, buddy, let's take our final break. When we come back, we'll talk about the biggest stories on the lighter side of Corvette from 2022 here on Corvette Today.
Are you ready for a better insurance policy without the Corvette tax? With Agreed Value Protection, the value of your collector vehicle will never change. Plus, you'll save money. Get a quick quote at ncminsurance.com.
Yogi Berra once said, if you don't know where you're going, you'll probably end up there. At True Wealth & Company, we take that to heart. See, at True Wealth & Company, we believe your retirement lifestyle travels through two doors. Door number one, the blue door, gives you more options, financial freedom. Your money outlives you. Every happiness you wish for in life is through the blue door. Door number two, the red door, is where you outlive your money. You rely on family, friends, or even the state to take care of you. At True Wealth & Company, we're not just financial planners. The best way to walk through the blue door is to have a written plan. Make a work-optional lifestyle a reality with our proprietary True Life Map formula. Look towards your future with anticipation, not apprehension. Having a rock-solid fiduciary partner like True Wealth & Company is essential to effective financial planning. There's no winging it. There's nothing left to chance. Look, we don't want you to become another Yogi Berra-ism. Give us a call today at 913-653-TRUE. Visit us online at retirewithtrue.com. Start your financial independence and work-optional lifestyle today.
913-653-8783. Visit us online at retirewithtrue.com. Investment advice offered through True Wealth & Company, LLC, a registered investment advisor in the state of Kansas.
American Hydrocarbon is your one-stop shop for custom interior, exterior, and engine bay items for your C4 through C8 Corvette. We can help you create a custom look for your Corvette with carbon fiber or 10 different color patterns and styles. Whether it's a custom-made engine cover for your new C8 or custom-made C4 interior upgrades, American Hydrocarbon can help you transform your Corvette into a best-in-class show car. And now we're proud to announce that we can produce and distribute officially licensed GM products for the C8 Corvette, including front splitters, side skirts, engine appearance panels, engine fluid caps, door holders, trunk and front props, and more. Plus, we now carry the C8 Speedline side skirts, along with the engine appearance package and the high wing. Give us a call at 813-476-5638. Visit our updated website at AmericanHydrocarbon.com or email us at pat@AmericanHydrocarbon.com. Make your Corvette the car you've always wanted it to be with American Hydrocarbon.
Stretch the life of your Corvette's paint with Nova Stretch, the performance protective cover. From bugs to rock chips, Nova Stretch covers protect your C5 through C8 Corvette, utilizing stretch fabric technology and an innovative fastening system for quick installation and easy removal and storage. Made in the USA for a tailored fit, the patented design and breathable mesh protects your Corvette without rubbing or chafing the paint like traditional covers. And unlike clear film or old-time car bras, Nova Stretch provides full front-end coverage including the grille, keeping radiators and heat exchangers clean and debris-free. Visit novastretch.com and use the code CORVETTETODAY15 to get 15% off your order. Protect your Corvette with Nova Stretch.
You're enjoying the only current podcast on Corvettes, Corvette Today.
Hey, thanks once again for listening and watching Corvette Today, the show that talks about everything Corvette and the only current podcast on Corvette. It's brought to you by Wheelcraft. Want to dress up your Corvette with bright chrome or black chrome wheels? Visit wheelcraft.com and learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or offer a wheel exchange for most models, and it comes with a 5-year warranty. Visit wheelcraft.com or call them 833-840-5334. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. With me every other week is Keith Cornett from CorvetteBlogger.com. We're covering the biggest and the best stories of 2022. In this third and final segment, we talk about the lighter side of Corvette and the biggest stories from last year. First of all, Keith, I think I would have done the same thing this guy did. A man cried when his 63 split window sold at Barrett-Jackson.
Yeah, I'm crying right now thinking about it as I'm recapping the story. This was, I think, our second most popular story for the year, over 200,000 pages viewed.
Wow. And
it happened within a couple days. You know, you get that kind of traffic, so much fun. We have a car that is in my garage that my dad bought new. They're more than just vehicles to us. They become part of the family. This owner, I don't know anything about him. His name is Fred. He bought it new, used it sort of as a family car, and then he joined the Army. The car got sold. In 1983, he went and found the car back in Cincinnati and bought it back. Since then, he's restored it. He did some tasteful modifications on it and restorations and actually got certified Bloomington Gold. So you think he bought the car in 63, he sold it at some point in the 60s, but then bought it back in 83. And then it was with him all the way up through last year. I want to read you this section here. This is from the description of Barrett-Jackson. It says, sometimes it's easy to forget the vehicles on the block are more than just fiberglass and sheet metal. They represent the memories and stories we cherish, and that's part of the passion that moves this hobby forward. When this car comes up, his name's Fred, and the bidding starts, he's standing on that back wall and he breaks down. He's crying like a little kid. I was crying right along with him the first time I saw the video. His wife's holding his hands. He's shaking. One of the Barrett-Jackson representatives, probably the guy that helped consign the car, comes over and is trying to console him as well. And meanwhile, the car just keeps going up and up and up, and then it sells for $300,000, I think.
Wow.
And, you know, you think, oh, well, you know, he's crying because he's taking that money to the bank or not. No, he's given up his pride and joy. And in the end, we're just caretakers here. We watch these cars, and then eventually they'll move on. The 66 Corvette that's been in my garage that my dad purchased new will eventually move on. I'm getting a little choked up just talking about this story because it demonstrates the bond that we have with these cars, and they are just more than just cars.
Yeah, it really is. They're like extensions of our family, and I know that I feel that way. I felt that way about my Torch Red C7, and I feel that way about my new 70th anniversary C8. You modify them, you put your heart and soul into these cars, they become part of the family.
Absolutely.
Another story, Keith, GM had halted Z06 orders through the end of 2022, but then they reissued new numbers to dealers.
This is the Z06 story of the ordering and the allocations and then the pausing of orders and then the fact that we can't get that Aero package, the Z07 Aero for it. That's probably the overriding biggest story of 2022, but it was just these little missteps along the way that we saw. You know, why would you open up orders, take them, and then say no more orders after that? There just should have been a little bit more prep work done for the customers so that not everything was a surprise. This news broke at the NCM anniversary show. We had Harlan there that we could ask the next day questions about. Unfortunately, it's just these things that are going on with the supply chain. They want to make sure they get everything right on the car, you know, so they're going to build fewer units. They're going to do a slower than normal ramp up. Since then, we're looking back. They've done that. They've built 450 cars so far. I think they're probably pretty close to being done with that first allocation cycle and getting all those cars ordered. We thought there'd be about 500 there. There was another allocation cycle a month and a half ago, end of November. Some of those cars are starting to be built, I believe, this week or next week. So they're moving right along. They're starting this ramp up. They're building 18 a day now or so. Still less, about 10% of overall production, but it's still 10% at least. So it's not less than that. This was a tough year for that car. The people that have it, they love it. This was a hard story to do throughout the year. There never seemed to be any good news to go along with it.
Agreed, for sure. And this story next is kind of close to my heart because living in Kansas City is divided right between Kansas and Missouri, and I live on the Kansas side of the Metroplex, and this is a Kansas man. He had a 59 C1 that was supposed to go to the crusher, but Kansas lawmakers passed a law and he got his car back and saved it from being crushed.
Yeah, this is a gentleman named Rich Martinez. He bought a 1959 Corvette in Indiana paid $50,000 for it. Car looked great, was restored. I guess Kansas law says that when you bring in a car, you have to have the VINs checked and some other things done at the Highway Patrol office. So he takes the car to the Highway Patrol. They look at it and they said that, well, you had a VIN tag here that was removed and then reattached. That's against the law in Kansas. That means this car is contraband and it's going to be seized and then destroyed because it's contraband. This poor guy, I think he dealt with this for nearly 5 years, trying to work his way through the secrets of politics and the law. And you've got the troopers whose only job is to enforce it. They don't write the laws. They can't help the guy out. So he had to go to the source, and he ended up working with a couple of representatives in Kansas to get that law changed. At the end of the year, he finally got his car back. The car pulled up on a flatbed. Trooper was there, handing him over the keys. And unfortunately, during the time that they held his car, it was damaged. He said close to $30,000 in damage of paint. Thankfully, Kansas gave him a check as well to cover some of those damages. So hopefully all is well in Rich Martinez's life. It was good to see his car back. What a crazy story. I think he's going to look at that car a little differently for the rest of his life.
Every Corvette owner has a story, and boy, Rich sure has the story on that one. That's for sure.
Yep.
Our final story, Keith, and this was probably not necessarily the lighter side of Corvette, but you know what? It was still really, really important. I'm sure it got a lot of clicks on it. The Z06 side-mounted exhausts are the export cars, not the ones that stay in the United States.
Yeah, this is a story that we broke exclusively at CorvetteBlogger. We were watching these cars. A lot of the speculation was, oh, they must be the E-Ray, right? It's a Z06, a wide body with the LT2 exhaust setup. The tips are a little bit different. The sound's a little bit different if you're near one of these cars because it's got the LT6 in it. But it was after some conversations that we had with Josh Holder, the Corvette chief engineer for the vehicle. We just learned that there's nothing real special about them other than the fact is they're an export exhaust because many of the markets, especially Europe and Australia, require the use of particulate filters. These are installed on the exhaust systems themselves. And so you have to have a certain amount of packaging available, room in there to put them on. And with the quad center exhaust, that was a late design change anyway.
Right.
The exhaust was always supposed to go out the corners originally for the Z06. And then with COVID and some of the additional downtime they had, they continued to work on it, refine it until they were able to get those quads together and make that beautiful sound that the LT6 is capable of. But they won't fit the particulate filter. So they used their original designs to continue to do those for the export cars. So tongue in cheek, sorry world, those quad mounted exhausts are for us. And then you guys will get these export versions. It's a world car. We're glad to see that the Z06 is going to these other markets. It only cements the fact that Chevrolet makes a fantastic sports car, gives these other people a chance to live the American dream, so to speak. We love these cars and think that they're going to make a difference in how people think about the Corvette when they can actually see them on the roads in their own markets.
Absolutely right. Well, buddy, that was the biggest and best stories of 2022. Happy New Year. It's great to have you back. I'm looking forward to bigger and better things this year in 2023 with Corvette Today and the News and Headlines show with you and CorvetteBlogger.
Well, thanks, Steve. It's just a pleasure being on with you every couple weeks. We have a good time off the air. I think a lot of that shows that when we do talk here, there's so much great news coming out. The Corvette team knows what we want. There's going to be choices with some additional cars coming out. We're hoping the E-Ray is revealed earlier this year and then comes out when manufacturing starts sometime in the summertime. A lot of stuff to look forward to. After that, we'll have ZR1. There's already been spy photos of ZR1s on the road, and we're getting some additional information from like Manny over at Muscle Cars and Trucks on that. A lot of good stuff happening. You're going to find out about it on CorvetteBlogger and, of course, listening to the Corvette Today podcast.
Thanks for listening to Corvette Today, and please be sure to tell your family, friends, and other Corvette enthusiasts about the Corvette Today podcast. And thanks to our sponsors, Wheelcraft. Want to dress up your Corvette with bright chrome or black chrome wheels? Visit Wheelcraft.com to learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or offer a wheel exchange for most models, and it comes with a 5-year warranty. Visit Wheelcraft.com today or call 833-840-5334. American Hydrocarbon at AmericanHydrocarbon.com. True Wealth & Company at RetireWithTrue.com. Also, Aerolarri Wheels. Get $100 off your purchase with the new promo code CT111 at Aerolarri.com. And Hendrick Chevrolet in Kansas City at ChevyUSA.com.
You've been listening to Corvette Today with Steve Garrett. If you'd like to contact Steve with any thoughts on the podcast or ideas for guests on Corvette Today, you can email him at stevegarrettdj@gmail.com. That's stevegarrettdj@gmail.com. Garrett has 2 R's and 2 T's. Or connect with Steve on social media on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram using @SteveGarrettDJ. Thanks again for listening to Corvette Today.